Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Saturday Mornings with Pastor P. I'm excited this morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well this morning, each and every one of you, as you're coming on. Would you do me a kind favor and to share and tag? Good morning. Good morning. This is Saturday Mornings with Pastor P. And for the month, for the year of 2020, you know that we're talking about fervent. We're talking about having a strategic plan for your life, covering in prayer, in business, in ministry. And so each month, God has given me an assignment to have special guests to talk about whatever the topic is. This month is identity, and making sure that we have individuals from every sector, ministry. We have individuals from business. We have lay personnel, everyone coming in and sharing how they're able to identify who they are individually in business, and then keep it all separate, because you all understand that even in business, we may be one person. I am the business woman for my business, but I am also the pastor for my ministry. I'm also the wife to my husband and the mother to my children. And all of those identities have a tendency to cross the line. And so we want to make sure that we understand, and then understand how the enemy tries to make us think that we cannot identify with anything or anybody, and how we are. I guess we would say, if you're thinking about all of those personalities to do all those things, are we schizophrenic? No, we're not. We are capable. We are mighty women of God, mighty women in business. And I want to make sure, as individuals, that we understand who we are. So today I have a special guest, and I'm excited about this guest. Many of you know her. And so when she comes on and she begins to share her information, and we begin to break down some identity challenges as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, as an employee, when we begin to break that down and she begins to talk you through how she's been able to identify who she is and stick to that place of being true to her own identity. And that is a unique challenge for all of us, because we're trying to be everything to everybody. And there's sometimes we have to step back and say, I've got to be true to me. And I think this woman that you're getting ready to see exemplifies that in all levels. So I'm going to pray, and the next voice that you'll hear will be our special guest. Father God, I thank you for every person that will see this live. I thank you, everyone that will hear from Facebook to YouTube, Lord God, that they will understand their own personal identities. They will identify with the uniqueness of this woman. They will identify with how she's had to do all that she needed to do to stay true to herself. I thank you, Lord God, for the gifts that you've put on the inside of her. I thank you for her uniqueness. I thank you, Lord God, as she is an influencer in all the circles that she encompasses, Lord God. And that the individuals that get attached to her understand her uniqueness, understand her influence to draw not just them to business, but to other women to be true to themselves, and how she uncovers the hidden part of you without you even realizing that it was there. I thank you in advance for everything that will take place today. I thank you for every person whose life will be changed. I give you all glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So I'm excited to introduce to each and every one of you none other than Miss Connie. I'm going to say her name wrong because I am terrible about names. So I'm just going to say Miss Connie, because if I mess up her last name, like folks mess up mine, I would be mad. So I'm not going to say Miss Connie. Let's see, here we go. Miss Connie, welcome to Pastor P, Saturday Mornings with Pastor P. I'm excited that you accepted this. Um, I know that we don't talk often, or anything like that. But when you meet people and you're introduced to them and their skill set, there is something about them, for me anyway, that I will gravitate to and say, okay, I need to watch her. I need to follow her. I need to pay attention because there are things that she does that inspire me, that influence me. And even without her knowing that, she can be silly, y'all, but she can be serious at the same time, too. So I want to introduce you all to, all right, say your name for me, darling, so I don't mess it up. Then I'll say it right the next time. Uh-oh, I can't. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go.
It's Connie McGowan.
McGowan. All right, there you go. So I am terrible, but
don't worry. I'm like that too.
So first of all, before we get started, I want you to talk to us about you as the individual, and then you as the businesswoman who wears a lot of hats, and then you as the professional in your career, because they are different.
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me. That prayer was powerful. Let me tell you. Thought I was gonna break out in the shout. So thank you for that prayer. That meant a lot. So for those that don't know me, my name is Connie McGowan. I am a professional photographer in Richmond, Virginia, but I've been born and bred in Mississippi. So I bring Southern hospitality from my Southern roots, and I was raised by my great-grandparents. So they instilled that in me, and I carry it with me always. I never forget Mississippi, ever. So I think who I am, I'm also a nurse. I do a lot of things. But one of the things I do well is my career as a nurse. I'm an infection control nurse, so I do a lot with COVID with my job. And that has been really taxing for me over the last 2 years with COVID and just the amount of work that I've had to do and the stress that it brings. So I had to learn to take away some things and really focus on some things that I really, really loved and that I was passionate about. And one of those being photography. But I also do some other stuff. Let me tell you. I do home organizing. I do I make snowballs too. It's so unbalanced. But I don't do those as much. Photography is my main thing that I do because that is my business. But I love to incorporate all of those. I used to be an event planner. Well, I will always be that. So I try to incorporate all those in everything that I do, even down to my full-time job. So it's a lot. I'm also a fur mom. So I have a very, very rambunctious and excitable dog that just turned 8 this past week. So that's a full-time job for me too. Because if anybody knows Bella, you know me. So yeah, that's who I am as a person.
So let me ask this question, because that is a lot of hats to wear, and the fact that they are so different. How do you keep your identity? Because we're talking about in Fervent. Let me give a little backdrop for those who don't know. So Fervent is the book by I tear up name. Felicia Shira is her name. I believe that's her last name. So in the book, she talks about strategic planning for your life in prayer. And so every month we have a different area to identify. Last month it was focus and how we needed to stay focused and how the enemy will cause us to be distracted by all means. And so here again, the enemy wants to take us and say, you know what, you can't identify who you are because you got too many hats on. And sometimes we have a tendency to forget which hat we have on in which place. And then it looks like, as I said, we're schizophrenic. It looks like we're a little bit crazy because nobody can identify who we are. And I wanted to, so when I knew that you did all these things, I mean, remind me of myself. You know, sometimes people say, well, how do you keep up with it? Don't judge my plate from your plate, because all of us have a different plate in front of us. and our portions of what we actually are able to handle, what we eat, and how we move is different. And God has graced each one of us differently. So,
Mhm.
in that respect, how do you feel that God has graced you with the to be able to identify in the photography, um, the snowballs? I haven't had an opportunity to have one, but let me tell y'all, every time she has a picture, I'm like, okay, let me see when she's gonna do a pop-up shop. And I know that's really prevalent in the summertime that you do those. But let me tell you guys, they look. And every time I go to the shop to get my to have a shoot, and she has some. I'm always fasting, so I can never have any because every time I've gone, it has sugar in it.
It has lots of sugar. It's
Lots of
diabetes in a
sugar.
cup. Okay, diabetes in a cup. So to your as an answer for you, I feel like for me, God has gifted me with lots of talents and a focus. I should have been listening to focus, but I feel like for me, I am very organized. My life is very structured, and I try to keep it that way because there's no way I can balance all of these balls in the air without having some sense of structure. Now, do I derail sometimes? Absolutely. I think everybody does because I do have to pivot sometimes when things happen. But on certain days, I do certain things, and I have to do it that way because I'll get everything mixed up. I'm a number one Gemini. I'm born on June the 11th, which is double digits too. So I feel like as a Gemini, that people can multitask. And I've always been a master multitasker at everything I've done. Even when I was little, I did multiple things. And so I'm always praying to God to give me vision in anything that I do. And I'm a late night person. So I'm up till like 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And I still have to go to work the next day because I think better at night. I'm clearer at night. I don't have all these distractions at night. And I feel like with God and our relationship is he a night owl too. And so he speaks to me at night. So for those that have known me and followed me for a while, I'm always posting really late at night, or I'm sending emails and sometimes text messages in the middle of the night because I have to do it right then. And sometimes when I'm thinking of an ideal, I have to do it right then. And for those that know me, they know that's kind of how I move. I don't have time to be waiting because your plans are meant for then sometimes. And so you have to move when God says move. So I move right then. If it's ideal, it's a marketing photo on Facebook or somewhere, I'm texting someone saying we need to do this because that's how I've always been. And not to say that might be right or wrong, but that's what works for me. And I try to align myself with people that understand my vision and that support me because that means a lot. Having, the right people in your corner. I was listening to something the other night and someone said that a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want no new friends. I'm going to keep the ones I always had. And sometimes those people, you outgrow those people and you have to figure out who's in your corner because everybody doesn't have the same vision that you have. And you do have to meet new people. And I enjoy doing that. So that's kind of how I kind of deal with all of the things that I deal with. Is having the right people in my corner, being focused, having specific days and staying organized. And then just praying to God to give me the vision and for me to act on it. Because sometimes I don't always act on it.
Well, I think that pretty much says it for all of us. I want to go back to something you said because sometimes you don't know how you connect with people until you have a conversation. So the conversation we're having today is something we've never had before. And so I'm one of those people, and those people who know me, I text early in the morning, so I don't go to bed till maybe midnight, but I am up by 4. And God is speaking to me early in the morning, and I am texting and I am messaging and emailing early in the morning. Because if God tell me to say something to you or an assignment that we need to get done, I understand that that's how I identify who I am in Him. And making sure that I keep that balance. People don't always understand when you wear all these kind of hats, how can you balance all this? But because we recognize that we're not in control of any of this, we recognize that there is a higher power that says, you know what? I'm giving it to Him. And when I need to rest, because I've seen you take vacations.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
she takes vacation, y'all. So she has a great balance in all that she does. And that's the important thing. A lot of people have a lot of hats. They can identify with being a multitasker. And I know that they say that that's not possible, but that's because the people who say it don't do it well. That's my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. So when you can't do something well, you always say it doesn't exist. When
Mm-hmm.
you don't actually can work in that place of balance in your career, in your home life, and in business, that's because you haven't mastered organization. You haven't mastered having a priority and making sure everything is in its perspective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah, so that's the challenge that most people have. I was going to say this first thing this morning when I heard you say you were from Mississippi, and I see that my battle buddy is on here. My co-laborer in the ministry is from Mississippi as well. So that I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know that. But I guess I probably should have recognized that with that little accent that you have,
Oh
and
yeah, it'll come out now. It'll come out.
and that's a good thing because you don't want, as you become all of these other people in your career and in business, you don't want to lose your true identity.
Mm-mm. No, and I've seen people do that and they become something that they aren't. And I feel like I'm myself authentically and unapologetically every day around every person. I don't treat anyone different because I don't have time to act. And I'm a good actor now. Okay, actress. I can act if I need to, but I don't feel like I need to. I want to always feel like I'm myself around everyone. Like, you've been in the studio before. I'm definitely myself. And I know you're a pastor. And I'm like, I do have a potty mouth. Jesus is still working on me. Jesus is still working on me. So I love the Lord, but I do curse. I'm just saying. So, but I'm myself. You never know what music you're gonna hear when you come in here. I will put a little Hezekiah Walker on if I know you need some headshots because you're a pastor, but it might be Megan Thee Stallion on in the next 5 minutes. So it is. It is what it is. I adapt to people, and I'm an extreme extrovert. I love people. I know my ministry is people, specifically women of color. I identify with them. I understand women of color, and that is my focus. And those are my main. I would say that is my main client when it comes to my photography, and you can see that. And I cater to that particular ideal avatar for me. However, I can adapt to anybody. I absolutely love meeting new people. I feel like everybody has something that I can get from them. No matter who you are, whatever your economic background, where you work, I feel like there's something that I'm supposed to learn from that person. It might be small, but I feel like they have everybody matters. And I like to be myself because I like to make people feel comfortable to be themselves because I know fake people when I see fake people. And I know people when they're acting and they're not true to themselves. I've seen people come in my studio and they come one way and then they see that I'm cool and they're like, "Oh, it's okay to be me." And we've literally seen, my I would call it my crew that works with me. We've seen it. We're like, okay, that's who they really are right now. And that's why I encourage people to be themselves and not try to be someone else. I've had people come into my studio and like, I would like to do exactly what you did for this person here. And I'm like, well, that's not you though. I mean, well, who are you? And I want to get down to the root of who you are. And I feel like I'm really good at that. I'm really
Oh,
good.
yes. Yes, you are. I love taking pictures. I've always loved taking pictures, but it was something about getting behind that camera in the studio that always makes me nervous. And if I'm just doing a selfie, if you look at my phone, I have tons and tons of stuff. My family is always like, "Why are you taking pictures? What in the world? Why is it that at every family outing you are the one in everybody's picture?" Because I love it is just with something. But Connie made me relax. And it was wonderful. Let me tell y'all. So, I know this is Pastor P, but I did a boudoir session with her. And Let me tell you.
Oh,
Um,
honey.
for those, Google it if you don't know what it is. But it was awesome, and it let me, and it was for my husband. And so let me just say that. And but it was fun. It was fun to be able to do that and relax, because a lot of times, as she said, we are all, I keep this all together personality. That's just kind of how I am. The only time I really relax probably is with my family, unless I've gotten really comfortable with you. That you don't really get to see that side. Now, for those people who come on Pastor P's live, you will see me in places. You'll see me cry, you'll see me emotional, and I share, because this platform, there's nobody here but me. And I think that that's the challenge that we have when we get out in. I'm an extrovert, okay? So, I mean, I'm an introvert. Excuse me, let me go back. I am an introvert. I know I'm an introvert. I know how to act like an extrovert in places, but I know who I am. I am an introvert. I like to be behind the scenes. I don't want to go out front, even though I love to take pictures because I think I'm beautiful. I
Yes.
see, when I was young, my mother would tell me, if you don't think you're beautiful, nobody else will. So nobody, when I tell people all the time, when I was a size 24, I was beautiful. When I was a size 12, I was beautiful. So I recognize that if I love me, inner me, then that's what's projected on the outside. And that's how people identify with who we are. A lot of times I know that people, I am stern, I am strict. And so sometimes I'm unapproachable. That's
Yeah.
the introvert in me, and I know that. So I have to soften that up as the pastor, because who wants a pastor who you can't approach?
I'm telling you, and I see it all the time. Like, and I feel like I know that that is a strong point for me, and I feel like I gained that strong point about self love and self identity and self expression from my great grandparents. Like you were talking about, you love photos. My grandparents used to not drag me because I had no problem going, to take photos as a child. I took a lot of photos. And my grandparents would give me, and that's literally how I became a photographer. I feel like, because my grandparents would give me a camera every year for Christmas. I would ask, they would get. And I grew up with my great grandparents as pretty much as an only child, but I have siblings. It's 8 of us, but I just happened to grow up. My mother is in my life and all that, but I grew up with my great grandparents. So I was raised almost as a single child. So there's a bit of selfishness in me. I just like to let people know that. But they would drag me, and again, I'm from Mississippi, to the local IGA, Piggly Wiggly, and Sunflower grocery store. And in the very back, in the storage room, they would have a photographer that would bring a backdrop and set his lights up. And I would take pictures. Like every time they were there, I would take pictures. I would go to the Bill's Dollar Store. You see, y'all don't know nothing about that. And take these pictures. And I grew up with a love of being able to express myself and feel confident in my image. And that's what I want everybody to feel. Like some people didn't have that. And I see that with boudoir more than I see it with anything else. And that's why that is my ministry. That's my baby. I love boudoir. I absolutely love it. And although for those that don't know, it is a feminine shoot that expresses your sexuality and femininity and self-love. It's not like porn or anything like that. It's very tastefully done, and just it's sexy. And a lot of women don't feel that. And in relationships, they don't feel that, or else they've had hurt and trauma that has caused them to not feel like they are worthy of loving themselves. And that's why boudoir, I feel like, is something that is just the ultimate form of self-expression and self-love and self-care. And that's why we really, really take pride in making sure every woman feels comfortable when they come here, and that we shower them with love and friendship so that they can truly unleash and unveil. And that is what you got a chance to do. And I was really, really happy to experience that with you, because it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Listen, y'all, I'm gonna say this. I don't know when she does, her next boudoir, but
I do it anytime. You just book
so listen,
anytime.
if you have a personal identity problem with you, and you're not able to identify who you are, you don't like what you see when you look in the mirror, if you're afraid to stand in the mirror naked,
Yep.
if you're afraid, you need to do a boudoir session,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about your nakedness. And it's not about being exposed to the world, but it's about being exposed to you.
Yep.
And
What?
when you begin to see the beauty of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
see, we got to begin to love ourselves
Mm-hmm.
at another level before
Yeah.
we can love and project that to other people. And that's where our problem lies, is because we don't actually love ourselves enough
Yep.
to be exposed.
Yep. And I like to say, Pastor P, that I like to tell people that that boudoir strips you not only of your clothes, but of your insecurities. And it
Mm.
allows them to be visible and in your face. Like I have shared with people, I always do a boot camp sometimes, and I'm going to be doing a virtual one where I talk about what the experience is like. But we have had people in here break down and crying. We have had people that we've had to stop and literally pray over, literally, because it's been that deep. Because they're truly, like I tell you, when you take these articles of clothes, you hide behind clothes, but you can't hide from anything when you're doing boudoir. You are in your sheer nakedness as God created you. And so you have to be able to face those insecurities. You know, we have people that come in like, oh, my stomach, my leg, whatever. It's what you say to yourself. And everybody knows that shoots for me. You don't come in here with no negative self-talk or no negative talk, because what happens is that's what I shoot. And so often, and I had to work on myself with that. You know, if someone gave you a compliment, it's so easy to downgrade that compliment to, oh, this old thing, or, oh, girl, that ain't nothing. Like, but we need to learn to accept those things. It's okay to accept a compliment. We have to also learn our love languages. Some people, that might not be the way they expressions or affirmation may not be. I'm not that person. Like I'm not an affirmation person. You don't have to tell me anything. I'm very confident and to know it, but it's great. Thank you. I appreciate it, but that's not my love language. But I've learned to give that to other people, and that was hard to tell people these things because that's not my love language. That's actually probably my fourth love language. My
Oh,
first one is always going to be is action. It's going to be what you do. That is number one and has always been, because that's how I grew up. My grandparents, I didn't grow up in a home that, although I knew they loved me, it wasn't said. It was what they did. And so that is how I learned to love others in what I do. So how I express my love is if I'm doing something for you, or if I'm taking the time and I'm setting things up and do that, is how I love. And of course, my second one is gifts. I love a gift. So I love to give gifts, so I feel like you have to know that about yourself. But boudoir or whatever shoot, I feel like that is a part of your identity. I feel like it all meshes well with the topic, because if you don't know who you are, how can you be something to someone else? And
ooh.
and I think that we put ourselves last in so much stuff. I think that for 2022 and beyond, we need to put us first. Years ago, and I still do it today, I always celebrate my birthday with a whole week of festivities called the It's All About Me week. Like
Mm.
literally, it's all about me. I don't care anything about anybody else. It's all about me. That week right there, I'm going to give you everything else all throughout the year. Those 300 and other some days, but for at least 5 to 7 days, it's what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I
Mm.
want to do it. And you're going to do it, and you're going to love it for that week, because I feel like you owe me that. I deserve that. I'm worthy of that. For my week. And I started out as a weekend, and I made it a whole week. I don't celebrate my birthday month like the whole month. I just want one good week. One good week that I feel like everybody does what I want to do and how I want to do it. And it's called It's All About Me week, because, and I have
Mm.
It's All About Me days too during the month. And that's another way I balance is that day is what I want to do. And I don't have to do it with anybody else, because I'm very comfortable going and doing things by sometimes you have people tagging along and they just mess up your whole vibe. But I like to do things by myself sometimes. I don't want nobody bothering me. I want to go when I want to go and where I want to go. And I'll ask people, but I don't have time to be waiting on people to make decisions. I'll just get up and go. And I feel like you have to be at a level of life that you are comfortable with that. And so I encourage people to have It's All About Me days and things like that, because that way you're focused on you. And that's a part of getting to know you. For my birthday this year, I want to take a retreat where I really, really get connected with myself. And so I'm really looking into
Mm.
that. And I feel like everybody should do that, because I feel like my birthday is my New Year's day, not January 1st. That's when I was born. So June 11th is my New Year's Day. And so that's when I reset and I try to focus on things. Now, I'm gonna have some fun, but there's gonna be some part of that that's gonna be part of my R&R. And I feel like everybody should. And that's why I encourage people to a lot of people have been coming to me for birthday shoots, because I only do birthday boudoir and branding. I don't need anybody calling me about no babies and none weddings. But for my I like to be honest. But I've had a lot of people come to me for their birthday shoots, and I encourage people to celebrate yourself, because sometimes we wait on others and we get disappointed when we're waiting on others to celebrate you. But you can do it yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Go buy you a new outfit. Make yourself do things that are going to make you feel good. And it'll help you with learning who you are and identifying who you are. So those are just some things that I enjoy doing, and how I try to stay balanced and connected and learning who I am every day. And there's something new in every corner that I'm learning about myself and how I adapt to people, the world, and my business and everything. Because I've made mistakes, and a lot of them. And I try to learn from those mistakes and not continue to do those things. I'm in a mastermind group, and there's a book, and I'm not a reader. Okay. I don't want to be in your book club. I don't, because I don't like reading, but I like to read things that are fundamental to me and that are self-help.
Mm.
And so the person who does the mastermind has us reading this book called Mindset. And at first, I was like, this book looks like a lot of rhetoric, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, because it's part of the assignment. But that book has blessed me in a new way, because it talks about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And the fixed mindset is when people tell you things like, when you grow up and they say, great, if you do something wonderful, and they was like, oh, you did such a great job. Yeah, and a lot of times that makes you feel like, if I don't do a great job, I'm a failure.
Mm.
Very fixed. Or say you got an A on your report card, and a parent tells them, you are marvelous, you're wonderful, all these accolades, but they gonna be identifying that if I don't get an A, I'm not those things.
Right.
And so tell them, what's book will bless you. And the growth mindset is you're learning from everything. You're constantly learning to grow. And so I feel like I'm definitely at a growth mindset in certain areas of my life. Meaning, like, if instead of telling a child you did a great job, you getting that A, you tell them your work and your determination paid off. So they know that work and their determination will always pay off.
Mm.
Or you did a great job, instead of saying that, the effort you put towards what you did really, really made this wonderful. The effort and determination will make things wonderful. So I've been learning from that and growing from that. And I feel like I've been able to identify people who have a fixed and a growth mindset, and that will make you look at people differently. It'll make you move differently. And with the things and the mistakes I've made, I've learned to move differently. I've learned to believe in myself differently. And I feel like that everybody can learn from those mistakes, and to not let them set you back is one of my biggest attributes in identifying who I am, because I've had to identify some things that I didn't like about myself, or things that I felt like I needed to pivot in my life to be a better me. And you have to be able to accept those things and to hear from other people that are telling you those things. Sometimes you don't want to hear. It's bad. It's not easy to take in when people say, this is who you are. This is who you are. My sister has even told me who I am. And that really made me think, like, do I really do this? Hard to hear. But sometimes you need to hear it and take a step back and say, okay, I can identify that behavior in myself. And that I'm sorry that these things have happened. Let me try to change these things. Because if people keep telling you you're doing this and this and that, you're probably doing that even if you don't believe you are. So learning is a part of identifying who you
Wow.
are.
One of the things I don't know if everyone else caught it. Our verbiage is critical. I would always tell my family and my children, folks who say, identify, say, this is a white man's world. I'm not trying to be prejudiced, guys. I'm just trying to tell you, use
Mhm.
an analogy. So people would say, this is a white man's world. I said, okay, if that's true, then you need to know the rules of the game so you can engage me. If that's your mindset, the key is understanding the rules of engagement
Mhm.
and understanding that so you can play the game if that's what you believe,
Mhm.
because I'm not going to be able to change your mindset. You're going to have to do that, but I'm going to try to give you a tool to you to understand. If you are saying that you're identifying that this world belongs to somebody else,
Mhm.
then you need to understand the rules of engagement so that you'll be able to participate in this thing called life
Mhm.
and be successful. When we don't grow our minds, when we're not ready to make a shift in our own mindsets, that's the challenges that we have. Now, I haven't read this book yet. For those folks who know me, I love to read. And I grew up in a household where my mother read romance novels all the time. So there was nothing about Harlequin romance that I did not read. And they all got the same storyline. If you
Yep.
ever read a Harlequin romance novel, you know that it always have a happy ending. They just got different
Always.
characters. So I would read, and I still do, just how we ended up with this book, Fervent. And this is not my first time in Fervent, but God said to me, we didn't dig the last time. Now I want you to structure everything around it strategically. Because when we really identify who we are, one of the things I'm loving about hearing from Connie is that she has identified her problems, her challenges, and then she's made the proper adjustments. Ladies, men, boy, children, I need y'all to understand we got to identify with our challenges. I just told you guys that I know I'm strict. I know I'm stark. I know I can be unapproachable. Let me tell you, one thing I've learned, if I don't put a smile on my face, if you don't see me smiling, I look serious
Mhm. Yeah.
and I look mean.
Mhm.
I may not be thinking of anything, and but that's what my appearance gives off. And so I know that if I'm just sitting here, I catch it myself. I'm looking at the screen so I can see my face. And if I don't put a smile on my face, I'm looking serious. Like,
Mhm.
wow, what is she thinking? And that's how people see us. So we have to be mindful of what we look like in the mirror.
Mhm.
And when we can identify who we are, we can make the proper adjustments.
And that is you just piggybacking off what you said about the mirror. That's another thing. Like for last year, I bought this book, and it's and again, I'm not a big reader, but I do things that will help me with myself. And it was called Mirror Work. I think it's by Rachel somebody. I can't remember. But anyway, one of the things she talks about is getting in the mirror and
Mm,
saying to yourself, talking to yourself. And it's hard. It was hard. Like getting in the mirror and like looking at yourself right in your eyes, not at the mirror, not at the floor, not at the wash face,
mm,
at you, right in your eyes and saying, I love you, or you got this, or you can do anything. And I learned to do that every day. Like if I get up in the morning, I'm like, this is gonna be a great day for you. We're gonna have a great day, aren't we? Are we gonna do this? And it's like I live alone, so just me and my dog. So if you came to the door, you hear me talking. I have to talk to myself. I have to say these things to myself because when I hear it, I can believe it. And you have to say it out loud. And so one of the things when I do my boudoir boot camp, I sometimes will give out a mirror and I will ask these women to say these positive affirmations to themselves in the mirror. And at a boot camp I did early in the fall, someone like really broke down crying because it was hard and she never really said those things to herself. It's hard. It's easy to want other people to affirm us, but we have to learn to affirm ourselves. And I'm not an affirmation person. So I had to really deal with learning to tell myself, I love you. I love you regardless of what size you are, what your skin looks like, what your hair looks like. I love the person that I see looking back at me. And when you can love that person, you can learn to
Ooh,
give love. Because like I
yes.
said, I didn't
Oh,
grow up in this household where we was all lovey-dovey, good night, John Boy. No, we were not. Okay. Um, it's what you did. It's what you did. That's why I do things for myself too. I award myself for being amazing because I feel like I am. And if you can't feel that, how can other people believe that about yourself? I tell everybody all the time, I'm going to be a millionaire. Like I was just talking to a client the other day and I said, I'm going to be a millionaire. I don't know how and I don't know when, but I believe that. I know that.
wow.
I
I
work
believe it as
hard.
well. Listen, guys, so that mirror thing, I'm gonna this is the ministry part of me, because that's a deliverance piece.
Mhm.
And we all need to be delivered from our past. And
Mhm.
sometimes what has happened in our past has made its way into our present. And
Mhm.
because we have not dealt with it, we have an identity problem. We have an identity crisis. And so when you don't take the moment to look in that mirror at who you really are, and not the mirror to put on the makeup, not
Mhm.
the mirror to get dressed, but to see Patricia. See, I'm Pastor P in the pulpit, but to my family, I'm Trisha. And so I have to look in the mirror and make sure I can identify with Trisha
Mhm.
and who she really is and who she really isn't. And sometimes that makes you cry, it makes you break down, but it's all good because in the end, you come out healed.
Mhm.
But you got to do it, y'all. In order to help our children, in order to be productive in our businesses and on our jobs, we have to have a clear understanding of who we are. Because if we don't identify who we are to ourselves in our own minds, how are we going to be effective
Mhm.
in the things that we do? Connie has been effective because she's already and she's continuously making sure she takes care of her. So when she's doing a photography shoot, she does not have anything that's being projected at the people. Oh, they got a bad attitude and I'm gonna have a bad attitude. No, she said, you're not coming here with negativity because this is a place where positivity lives. And you
Mhm.
know that from the time you walk in the door. Now I don't need her to play Hezekiah because I like other music as well. I like Hezekiah. Don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna tell you that Megan the Stallion is my favorite or anything like that, but that don't mean I haven't heard it. Because we've got to be able to be relatable, guys. And that's our challenge, is that we're so afraid of stepping out from the place where people have identified us. Let me say that one more time. The place where people have identified us. And because they identified Patricia Ann Winfield as Pastor P, that I should supposed to look a certain way, I'm supposed to act a
Mhm.
certain way. And because of that, you got me in a box that God didn't put me in.
Ooh, don't even talk about a box.
And I'm
That
not
is.
gonna say that. I love that box. I haven't done the picture, guys. I loved it. I said I love to take pictures, and my family's like, "Why are you doing another photo session shot? What is this for?" It's for me.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Oh yeah.
it's just for me to bring out, you know what, when you see me snap, I got my phone and I'm snapping a picture of me because I, at that moment, I love what I see and I want to capture it.
Mhm.
I want to, if I want to post it or I just want to look back. Sometimes,
Mhm.
look, guys, I don't know about y'all. This is how much I love myself. And I'm just thinking, I'm laying on the sofa. I got my phone and I'm taking selfies
Mhm. Yeah.
because I love me. And
Mhm.
sometimes I got to look back at me and say, you know what, girl, you are doing pretty good.
Yep. Absolutely. And I
Because
love I love what you said about the box because that is one thing that is like my mantra, like my mission in life is to pull people out of their comfort zones. And I'm a person who lives outside of mine. I haven't always, but I have been living outside of my comfort zone for years now. but I didn't grow up that way. I grew up being comfortable, like, oh, we got to keep it this way. Again, I'm from Mississippi. You don't do too many things outside the box. So, because you be talked about. But then as you get older, you realize like life is for living. And living outside the box and coloring outside the lines is where life is. Not being too stuffy that you can't take risk. I'm a risk taker. I encourage everybody to take risks, try new things, meet new people, go new places. And that's where I feel like I live the most. And I encourage and I attract people that want to do that, because that is where life is. There is no room in the box left. You stuffed everything in it and you can't stuff anybody else in the box. So it's time to get outside of it. And I feel like through identifying who you are and really knowing what you love and doing what you love, not because someone told you to do it, but because you have identified that that is what I want to do, and not being afraid to take that risk. When you start really seeing who you are and start living in who you are in your identity, that's when you start getting out of that comfort zone, and that's where your life will start being lived. Life is short, and we see this every day, that people are going away from here by the nanoseconds. But we need to take every day to make it a great day, or to make it your best day, as if it was your last day. And so I feel like for women, mainly I talk about women. I feel like men sometimes take them, but let me talk about men. Because men are just like women. And I learned that taking photos. Like, you think that men don't have insecurities? Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. I did a pictorial called the Real Richmond Pictorial Documentary Series about the real women of Richmond, the real men of Richmond, years ago. I think it was around 2013. The first shoot I did was with 19 men. 19 men. It was a complimentary shoot, just expressing who they are. I learned with that shoot that men have insecurities. And I was like shocked. I was like, wow, I didn't want to shoot women because I didn't want to hear all about their stomach, their chin, their underarm fat. I didn't want to hear that. But men do the same, if not worse. If not worse. And so I was like, wow, that's amazing to see. A lot of people don't see that. But when you start stepping outside of your comfort zone and owning who you are, all of those things that you said you weren't, or I'm not beautiful, I'm not that, you will see that you are. So I'm all about identifying.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love it. Let me say a couple things that she has said today, and I want you guys to identify with and to go back and do an evaluation and some inventory of yourself, because it's critical for us to identify who we are to ourselves, not to the world. Let me say that, because the world has an image of you. As I was growing up, I didn't even know she grew up a lot with her great grandparents. Well, guess what? The reason I'm probably in ministry is because I spent every single summer with my great grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I have siblings, they would take me everywhere. There was nothing they wouldn't do for me. They would show me, and they were in the church. So, I was the
Yep.
child that was with the senior citizens on the Sunday school bus
I
going
was a
to
Sunday school teacher.
right. And I'm going everywhere with them. I mean, I was the only child with all the senior citizens going everywhere. Busch Gardens. I don't remember. Y'all know Buckrow Beach used was to be really popular a long time ago. And anywhere that they went, I was right there. But that helped me to identify something I didn't realize until later in life,
Yep.
is my walk with God and the
Mhm.
relationship. They nurtured that
Mhm.
by starting out early. I had no clue that this title of pastor was anywhere in my future. It was not what I would have selected. I can tell y'all that. Because I always say I'm not delivered to people. I told y'all I was stern. So that means I might tell you something that you might not like. And God has to say, I need you to do that in love. I need you to do that in love. And, everybody don't understand my love language is, so
What is it?
you know what? I think I used to be. I needed to hear how much you care for me. I
Mhm.
needed to hear I needed to hear the words. But
Mhm.
and now I've grown because I speak the words to me.
Yeah.
Now it's more about loving other people.
Yeah.
That is where I am at now. I don't need you to tell me how much you love me because I love me.
Yep.
And so I'm confident in the skin I'm in and who I am. So now I want to just love you.
Yeah.
My love language is giving the love back to people who don't feel love, the
Mhm.
people who feel like they've been left over, don't really understand. And a lot of times people don't see that because, like I said, I always got a stern face. And so
Yeah.
you don't see the soft side of me,
Mhm.
the part that has the compassion, the pusher. The ministry called me Pusher P.
That's a rapper, right? I
I don't know that.
think
But
it's Pusha
because
P.
I don't have a problem with pushing you to your destiny. And I understand that it's going to cause you some pain, but I'm going to be right there with you as you go through the pain.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so when I've identified the problem, Connie said she's identified her challenges, she's identified her faults, and then she's corrected them, but she's forever growing. And I need y'all to hear that you are forever evolving in the place where you are in your own identity because we've yet arrived. And so, because of that, she's able to go to dinner by herself. She loves a crowd, but
Mhm.
she loves her private. And
Mhm.
how many of you have taken the moment and said, you know what? Today I'm going to have dinner by myself. I'm
Mhm.
going out. I'm taking myself out to breakfast. See, you got to love your own company. You got to
Yeah.
love yourself enough to sit there and just talk and write and have a conversation
Yep.
with you. You got to identify who you are.
Mhm.
Otherwise, that's where the enemy can snatch it, y'all. That's where the enemy can take your identity and cause you to think you're not worthy, you're
Mhm.
worthless, that nobody likes you,
Mhm.
you don't fit in,
Yep.
because you won't take the time to review the mirror and say, you know what? Without the makeup,
I love me.
I love me. Without
Mhm.
all the clothes,
I
without
love me.
the lights,
Yep.
I love me. It may not be the perfect shape,
Nope.
but it's mine.
Yep.
And
You
I
may look like a busted
identify.
can of
Yes,
biscuits. You be all right. I love them biscuits.
yes. So I want you guys to understand, identify who you are. That was the purpose today. That even in your multiple roles, no matter what role you're playing for that day, mothers, um, daughters, seniors, business owners, whoever you are, as you identify who you are individually, only then are you able to help somebody else.
Yep.
Because Connie has made it clear of who she is, she's a great photographer, y'all. So I know that she's got, I'm going to let her talk about some things as these last minutes about what she's got going on in her business, because I can keep going on a tangent, and this is not what I wanted to do today. I want to make sure, because I'm about promoting other women. Listen, let me explain this to you. One of the reasons that I asked God to show me who and what, because I want women to identify who they are.
Yep.
I want women to be able to advertise on this platform, your business, whatever it is, your individuality. I want people to be relatable
Mhm.
in all areas. And this what happens when you identify who you are, you can be relatable to anybody.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you
So
so much
I'm
for
gonna
having
give Connie the we have 3 minutes because I only like to go an hour. So we have 3 minutes for her to share what's going on in her life. What's the next? When is the next snowball? I want to make sure is that what they call?
Mhm.
All right, I don't know when. So she's gonna have to tell us when she got the next pop up with that. It may be a little ways down the road. I know that she does some headshots. So I'm gonna let her tell you what she do. Let me let that alone.
So, as far as thank you again for having me. I really appreciate that. And I'm all about supporting women in business, that especially women in business, but especially Black owned businesses. I will always, in some way, shape, or form, support. And I like to tell people about other businesses. As far as my business, for this next Sunday, I'm doing Headshot Happy Hour, the Sunday edition. I usually do it the first Wednesday, and you can go to my page. It's clearly written out why you need a headshot. Clearly, you can read it. I'm not even going to tell you about it, but I feel like everybody can identify with that, and there's no reason to not have a headshot. It's $29. $29 headshot. That is what I do. And I like to keep it low because people like to come to me and want a quick shoot. I don't do quick shoots. I do experiences. So there's no sense in calling me for a quick shoot. If you want a quick shoot, you better get the headshot happy hour. And this is basic as it gets. So I want to give you an experience. And that's what my sessions are. They're not cheap and they're not super expensive. They are just right for my business. And for you, you have to pay the price if you want to get what you want to get. As far as boudoir, I do that anytime someone's ready. I only shoot during the weekend because, again, I have a full-time job. So I shoot during the weekend. Usually there's a 12 o'clock and a 5 o'clock shoot. I actually have one at 12 o'clock today. Yeah, that is what I do. I also do business branding. That's a full experience as well. Again, not for the faint of heart. It is a full experience. You got to be ready when you come to me. I'm worth it, and so are you.
Listen, I haven't experienced the business, but I know that I needed branding. Let me say this. I'm getting ready to change my business name. For those who know me, my business is Tax and Things Financial Services. And me and Connie talked. She's like, what do you do? What is it? That name doesn't say anything.
I said, what? I said, Tax and Things. I think you need to change that.
Yeah,
I'm very honest. Like when y'all come in,
is.
you gotta know. You're gonna get, if your picture not right, you're gonna know. I'm not gonna just let you leave out here with this picture just so I can get your money. Never. And if your business don't sound right and I feel like you need to add this, I'm gonna say, you might want to add this, or this is what I would do. Or that name, I wouldn't know that was, I wouldn't know what that meant. Right. So just be okay with that.
And I was okay with it, because you have to be in your place of change and understanding so that you can move and do whatever it is that you're supposed to do. So I am diligently working on the name change, and it's building blocks to business.
I like that.
Because I actually want to get away from taxes, and she just kind of like pushed me there. So I'm working to that. Building blocks to business. I mean, there's a block for everything. There's a block for your taxes. There's a block for insurance, whatever it is, your business, strategic planning. That's what I want to do. And people don't know that about me. Why? Because they only thought I did taxes. They only identify with the first word of my business. What in the world is things? Maybe they can get the financial, but tax, they got. And so she will awaken that on the inside of you and make you realize, like, wow, wait a minute, you need to do something else. You need to look at this different. And so listen, if you've never had a photo shoot, I had some, but I didn't have any.
Yeah.
I had some. And I'm not knocking those people that I went to. I'm just saying it was not the experience that I had when I went with Connie. And
you become family over here. Like, we treat you with Southern hospitality and give you an experience. No matter if you're here for 10 minutes or if you're here for 3 hours, because my experiences are 3 hours. And so, and boudoir can go 4 hours. So, yeah. So, and I'm a creative. So those ideas and things I throw out, I do them. You get those free because I give you ideas that you can do for you. Remember, I think I gave you some that I don't know if it was you or somebody with some taxes. I'll just throw out ideas because that's one thing God has gifted me with. Is the ideas to be able to think creatively and like have these ideas. And every idea I realized, I used to try to do everything I thought of. But I realized that God didn't assign that to me. It was to pass on to others. Just because it came in my brain did not mean that I needed to do it. It was for someone else. So you also have to realize that because you'll get overwhelmed and you'll really be juggling up some balls trying to do everything you think of.
Oh, yeah. And so that's important, guys. You got to know what's for you and what's not. So I'm thankful for the time that I've had with Connie to be able to share and do some things. And so, the ideas that she's given me, and I have not been able to implement them, but I am thankful for that. So I am going to encourage you guys to make sure you go to her Facebook page, which is Connie and Company, if I'm correct.
It's at Connie and Company RVA on Facebook, and it's Connie _and _co on Instagram. And of course, my regular page is public anyway, and I don't accept all friends, but you can follow me because I'll get like an influx. It's probably at least 1,000 people in my queue or more, but just follow.
Oh yeah, just follow her and listen. So when she does these pop up, she'll.
Oh, the snowballs! I forgot about that. So yeah, the snowballs. So I'm not going to be doing it as much this year, but I will be adding snowballs. Are always, you can get one if you're doing a photo shoot. Always, but I am going to be having at least one pop up per month, and I post that on my Southern Flavor Snow Bar. So it's Southern Flavor Snow Bar on Facebook. I will be doing that, and I may even incorporate some snowballs with my Sunday edition of Headshot Happy Hour. So we'll see. That could turn into a whole party because these are not just photo shoots. They could turn into a whole party, a networking event, a social hour. Like literally, people hang around sometimes after Headshot Happy Hour, and connections are made. I'll give you an example. This past week, Wednesday, connections were made. So
okay, listen. Can I get you? I know we're over my time, but you started a new group, and
oh yeah, Sister Girls. So Sister Girls is just for those. It's a women of color social group, and it's strictly social for women who may be sitting at home, want something to do. Maybe their set of friends don't want to do it, but you can find someone that does. I formed that group when I first moved to Richmond. I stopped it a few years ago, and God told me to start it back up. And because I realized that with COVID, I was staying in the house a lot, and I'm a social butterfly. And so I know other people were having that same feeling. So it is Sister Girls, SISTA GIRLZ, and it's on Facebook. You can join that group, and we plan events, and it's social, and you can meet new people, try new things, go new places.
Oh yeah, guys, look, I told you I'm an introvert, and so I do like to be social, but I decided to join that group because so I haven't gone with them anywhere yet, but I'm working on it.
We have two events coming up next Friday. We're going to Hotel Green for miniature golf. We're going to places that you may not know about, or that are new, or that you wanted to always go but didn't have anyone to go with. And then at the end of the month, we're doing a little black dress social at Grand Stack and Stein, which is a speakeasy that's on Broad Street, or that's on Main Street.
Now, when was that date again on the black dress?
Hold on, I gotta look at my calendar.
Oh, okay, that's fine. If you didn't, I was just because I thought I want to make sure.
I think it's the last Thursday of the month, but if you go to the page, it's all there.
Okay, all right. So that means let me tell y'all, that's the last Thursday of the month. It's my anniversary.
It's the last Thursday or Wednesday. It's one of those days. I can't remember.
Okay, well, I know I won't be able to make that one. I was looking forward to it. I thought that was the one I was looking forward to, but I actually will be renewing my vows this year, 25 years. So I will not be there. But listen, guys, I want to thank Miss Connie for joining. I want to thank each and every one of you who have come on and just been blessed by the information that she has shared. If you desire to sow into, because I'm going to, whether you guys listen to me explain something for those who don't know me, whether the person, anybody sows into the platform or not, I sow into the person because they brought value to the table. And you got to understand, a lot of times we forget that people bring value to our lives, and we have to pay for that. She didn't charge me anything, but her time is worth it. And what she has shared is so worth it. So if you want to be a blessing, and not just to this one, but to any time that I do a live and I have a special guest, guys, I'm giving to them. If they have an amount, that's fine. But I already know what God has always told me, and so I'm making sure that I be a blessing because somebody was a blessing to me when I was on their platform. So again, thank you, Miss Connie. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I'm listen, y'all, get on her calendar. because she books up fast. She says she's a busy woman, and she is. But I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Miss Connie, for being a part of this year's Fervent and living strategically and
You are welcome.
identifying who you are and sharing with us the things that you've done to identify. Maybe we'll have a business week. I'm looking to think about some kind of business stuff where a lot of business owners come on and they get to share talking about their business. So, just kind of keep some things in the back of your head on what you want to do and promote. Anything you have going on, you're welcome to, share with me, and I'll be more than happy to post it on all my pages. Because look, guys, I promote other people's business. It's not because it's not about me. There's enough of going people in this world to go around that we should share and promote, especially people of color who cannot. I'm going to say this in the most respectful way. Some people can't afford to advertise based
Mhm.
on where they are. So when you are connected with a business of color, and you don't know what their budgeting is like, you can help them by sharing information about their business platform. You can help them promoting by sharing a post that they're doing, whether it's even about speaking or it's about a sale, whatever it is. Encourage them. The word tells us what we do for one, God will make happen for us.
Mhm.
So if you're not ready to help nobody else, I don't know what you think God gonna do for you. But I'm not gonna get on the soapbox as we get ready to get off of this live. I love you guys. Thank you for joining Pastor P Saturday mornings with Pastor P. I'm excited about what is getting ready to take place over the rest of this year, 2022, the year of the triple double. Expect triple double in your life. Miss Connie, I am waiting for that new building. I know that you're gonna buy that building. I know that God is gonna bless you. And I know that it's going to be an awesome studio. Not just a studio, but there's going to be multiple things that I can see the Snowball Corner store in there. I can see all of these things that you are doing. I can see the Sister Girl chat room. I can just see those things because when you walk through that, this is, you got to have vision. People don't always have vision when they see things that are not together, when you
Yeah.
can't see it. But when you are connected with God,
Mhm.
you can see vision
Yeah.
in dirt.
Yep.
And so, guys, I want you to push to vision. Allow Miss Connie to pull out the vision in you through photography, through a boudoir session, through a branding session, whatever it is. Take your business to the next level. Get some professional photos. Go and do something for yourself. Do the boudoir session. Have a birthday session. Do a branding session so that when you start promoting yourself, you look like $1,000,000 and you will attract $1,000,000.
Yep.
Start doing that. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday. It's beautiful today. I know it's not going to get up to 80, but tomorrow it will be hot, nice and warm. But don't take off all those clothes yet. We still in March, and this is Virginia, and y'all know you will catch pneumonia real quick. And Miss Connie said she ain't not trying to nurse y'all back. Um, do what y'all supposed to do. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you again. I appreciate each and every one of you that join us. Share. Do me a favor. Share this live. Somebody else needed to hear this information on how they can identify. Just share it with somebody who is trying to get their business, somebody who needs a photo shoot, somebody who needs a boudoir, somebody who needs some self-confidence to identify who they are. Okay. Thank you, guys. And if you're in the Virginia area, of course, join us tomorrow at New Life Ministries, New Life Generations in Petersburg at 2568 Stedman Drive. I'm excited about what God is doing in each and every one of your lives. Have a great day.